Hey, today on the 167, we're celebrating the Big Serve and the Big One, and it's all about moves, so stay tuned for the 167. Hey, welcome back to the 167. Today we are here with Pastor Rick George.
Good morning.
And Pastor Jake Reeves.
Good morning.
And with you, as always, is Pastor Lucas Motley. Hey, we are so glad that you guys are here. We are super pumped. We're tired.
Super tired.
But also super excited
Super
about.
pumped like a tire. Boom. Tired. Yeah.
So from the weekend, we had such a big weekend this weekend. We did the Big Serve. We had the big one out there at the field in our new property. And so we are just jazzed about Move. Tonight is the first night of Move groups. So we got a lot going on here.
Yeah, stay tuned. Don't go anywhere, because this has the potential, with as tired as we all are,
Oh, man.
to have some real gems thrown in there, like with no filters.
This is as
We are
close to it.
we're gonna put this on the internet.
Yeah, this could break the internet right here.
Well, let's start off with just celebrating some of the things that happened, because if you didn't know, on Saturday we had the Big Serve,
Yeah.
right? So the Big Serve, we had our We Love Gardner t-shirts, and we went out and we did a couple of projects out in our community with some of our missions partners, also just picking up trash, trying to beautify our community.
Yep.
Community beautification.
Beautification. Yep.
So I just want to ask you guys, what were some of the big win stories that you heard from Big Serve? What was some of the things that you were just like, man, this was really impactful for our community and for our church?
Yeah, so we, at staff meeting, we always do the wins and the challenges every week, and we try to get better. So, the wins and the challenges. So the challenge, I'll throw this out first. I wish there would have been 250 or 300 people here.
True, yeah.
I mean, that's what I was really like, man, if we could have had even more people, it would have been.
Do you know how many cigarette butts that would have been picked
I
up?
know.
It would have been like 1 million.
But the reason that I say I wish we would have had more is because with the 130 people,
awesome.
which is incredible. It's a great turnout. Thank you for those that served. But we made a big splash in our community.
yeah.
Right. So there, one of the wins was that people driving down the street stopped us, saw the shirts, asking, it's like, what are you guys doing? Where are you from? What? Thank you. This is awesome. At the parks, how do I get involved in, how do I get one of those red shirts?
I was gonna say, those people are like, how do I get one of those red shirts? I'm like, pick up a trash bag.
Pick up a trash bag. See you Sunday at New Life.
That's right.
So just the presence that we had in the community, and people seeing that what we were doing wasn't just here at church. We were out doing the dirty work of literally picking up cigarette butts and liquor bottles and old blankets and torn up masks and other nasty things that, just throwing
I know,
stuff.
we needed to have like a report of what was the grossest thing that you picked up.
You can be nasty, Gardner.
Yeah. So
Well, I thought it was good. One of our missions partners that we partnered with was Joy Closet.
Yeah.
So we went to Joy Closet's new location, which is kind of behind La Coretta. They bought what used to be a auto repair shop, right?
Yep.
Entire.
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 Yep, the tire shop.
And so they bought that old Entire, and then they were sorting bins, folding clothes, just helping them get moved and settled into their new space so they could open up this month.
Yeah, that was, I don't know, there were 10 or so people there, literally few hours. It could have been all day. It could be almost every day, sorting through the clothes and hanging them up. And it was a long morning for them, just going through clothes, but it was very beneficial to Joy Closet.
It's cool because they're one of our normal ministry partners.
Yep.
But we got to basically have people who haven't been in there serving go in and be able to serve and be a part of it.
Well, that's what we want you guys to know too, if you're listening, that through our missions partners and through our missions team here at New Life Community Church, you can actually regularly serve at Joy Closet. So you can give Joy Closet a call and say, hey, I can come hang clothes up, I can come sort bins, and they would love to have your help, because we send teams of people to do that probably every month. But if you were interested in doing that, you should contact Joy Closet. You don't have to serve at the Big Serve.
Do you know who is it? Sam Coyan from New Life that kind of coordinates our ministry efforts there. So we can get you hooked up with her.
Yeah, just email us at info@newlifegarner.com and we'll hook you up with Sam.
Yeah. One of our other partners that we had partnered with just this past month was Living Life Ranch. And in typical fashion, there was 2 life groups that kind of wanted to serve together, and I sent them out there. And the typical for those life groups, they showed up with chainsaws, and we were like, we're going to cut back a little brush and do some weeding. And they chopped up an entire tree, cut it up into firewood.
Why not?
It off. Yeah.
Why not? Come on.
And so my daughter was out there because she works with the horses regularly. So I was like, I need you to go out there because they might, with chainsaws, we're going to lead the horses away from that. And so she was like, she couldn't even keep up with how fast that they were moving through that.
They were cutting down trees they weren't even supposed to cut down. If it's in the
down
way, cut it down. Cut it down.
Put a hole in the house and just put on an extra bathroom. No, it was fantastic. And then we had multiple teams at Celebration Park, Veterans Park, Cornerstone Park.
Yeah, we went through, I don't know, gave out, 10 gallons of coffee or over 5 gallons. I don't know if we got all the way through the second.
Hundreds of donut holes.
Cambro. See,
everyone online like, I have no idea.
I don't know it.
Just think about our youth pastor, Cam, bro.
Oh man,
boom.
Sorry, Cam.
So gave away a lot of coffee out there, picked up a lot of trash. Again, created just a lot of interest in people out at the park, wondering like who we were, what we were doing, why we were doing it,
what we were selling.
People. What's the catch?
Yeah.
No catch, man. Just want to get out and be a part of our community, man. This is where we live. This is where we worship. It's where our kids go to school. We want to be involved and connected, and we love Gardner.
Well, I loved. I was actually driving, paying attention in the week coming up to that. I would drive down Grand, in front of the elementary school and the middle school there, and that fence line that goes it was just trash and trash and trash. We sent a team down there, and then I drove past it to get back to the church, and it was
all gone,
just spotless.
Yep. Awesome. It looks good.
It's funny when you drive around and there's pockets where it's like, okay, residents live here, it's really clean, and then I know, which I assume it's clean now because we went by it, but the CVS there on the corner, that CVS was.
We cleaned up Casey's on Center and 183rd.
Yeah,
it was bad.
Yeah, so
that's
the Big Serve.
My Casey's down there.
Yeah, so the Big Serve was really just an extension or the overflow of our love for God, our love for people. We love our community, and the way we demonstrate our love for people is when we serve people, and we just wanted to get out and serve. No strings attached. We weren't selling anything. We weren't inviting people to church. It wasn't an outreach ministry. It was literally get your hands dirty, go out, and just serve.
Well, and the thing that I want to challenge us to, because we're talking about doing that again, and if you didn't get to participate the first time, we want you to participate because
we want 300 people next time.
Yes.
Double. We want to
double the trash.
City.
Yeah. And it's always one of those things. I think one of the great stories that always comes out of it is, like I said, the relationships that are made. People get on a team with somebody else. You have a common goal. You start to serve together. You talk. And so people meet new people at the church. They serve something which always, gives you joy because you're serving the Lord. So.
Yeah, that was one of the side benefits with the group that I was out with. People met each other for the first time. They didn't know each other. We had some people that were in a life group together that wanted to serve together, but then, a couple other people was like, oh, yeah, I've seen you and didn't know who you were. They connected, hopefully the beginning of, a deeper relationship and some friendships that'll last, lifetime.
Cool.
All right. And then after the Big Serve, we had the big one.
We did.
We pulled it off. Hence the tired.
I'm just thankful we didn't make that an evening service on Sunday.
Oh my!
Because man, when that rain hit in the evening, it was a my dad says a toad strangler. It was a gully washer.
Gully washer. That's what I was going for.
Yeah, it would have been a mess if it would have been a Sunday night, but it wasn't. It was Sunday morning. It was beautiful, little overcast, an amazing day. So yeah. Man, I was pretty jazzed. We pulled it off.
Well, and I loved it because, you got to see a lot of our congregation in the same place at the same time. So many times we don't even know who's at our church because there's so many services that we are involved
Yeah, so
in.
when I'm looking at what are the wins and challenges there, the big win is that we were able to all come together and worship at one time in one service, and it did allow people to look around and think, wow, look at our church. It is a big church. And we had easily, I counted 12 to 15 families that were gone.
We had a lot of people just gone.
And they were gone this weekend because they scheduled to not be gone last weekend.
Yeah.
And then we had to cancel last week, postpone it, move it to this weekend. So like, man, we're out of town. It was fall break or something for the schools, or wasn't there something, kids didn't have school on Friday or something. So there are a lot of people that were out of town, and they were kind of bummed, but we had, I don't know how many, 700, 800. As a pastor, close to 1,000 is what I would say.
That's what
I don't know. It was 700 or 800 people that were out there. It was pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's what somebody came and told me. They were attempting to count. I was like, so like 1,200.
Yeah, but just to see the excitement of the people there, I did not hear one negative thing the entire morning. People were jazzed. People commented on how well it was put together, how every detail was thought through. Someone said on their way there, they're like, oh man, I hope they thought about porta potties, and they drove up, boom, there's porta potties.
Oh, they're nice porta potties too.
Yeah, they were good ones.
They were high quality.
We had dudes that worked on job sites like, these are nice, man.
And then one of the people said, I was thinking, I bet they don't have porta potties. And then they saw the porta potties, and so they're like, wow, but I bet they don't have a first aid tent. Oh, they got a first aid tent too. They've thought of everything. So
I just picture the guy from Jurassic Park going, spare no expense.
Yeah.
So I think we covered all the bases, thought through everything. The challenge is that, like in every event, we spent literally months, several weeks anyway, planning, preparing all the details, making all the arrangements. And then we spent a couple of days just immersed in it from sun up to sundown and beyond, like just hours and hours of, like, we were exhausted. And then 2 hours, whoop, it's done. It's like, wow. That's
R.I.P. to my anniversary weekend.
Yes.
Well, you guys did a ton of job, but we had just an incredible crew. I mean, like, you and Ryan were out there making sure the stage got set up and making sure the band was out there able to rehearse and warm up. We had a group of guys stay overnight. They actually camped out there to make sure that all the stuff would stay safe, that the vendors felt safe dropping their stuff off.
Kept the generators running and everything.
Yeah, I heard lots of positive feedback from people who were coming off of Gardner Road, seeing all of our incredible volunteers from the FIT team, with their volunteer T-shirts, and they were, getting people into the parking lot, and just the presence and the excitement, just the joy that people had in serving and getting ready to worship. Overall, man, it was a win. So
well, and we even had, because of our presence out there, there was questions on CFG. That morning, walked out to the edge of the thing to get the volunteers parked, and I met two cars. They were like, oh yeah, we were getting coffee at Grand House, and we were like, what's this? What's going on? And I said, it's a church service. You come back at 10. And I saw at least one of those families that actually came back.
Yeah.
And then there was another family that came up on bicycles. They were out for a bike ride. And one guy that I met that was out for a jog. They all wanted to know what was happening. Told them what was happening.
Some of them were kind of bummed because they thought it was Billy Ray Cyrus.
Sorry.
And I said, don't tell my heart, my achy, breaky heart.
I'll work on my mullet.
Yeah. So,
well, and I just thought it was a great thing for our community. And I thought it was a great preview for what it's going to be like to be out there. People driving by, it's a high trafficked area, to say, what's this? I'm going to go check it out. We had the stage where we're currently planning to put the stage. It's kind of a good, visual representation about what's happening. People get a sense of how big the property is.
I want to say we did that intentionally, but it was also one of the best positions for the sun.
It was the flattest part of it.
Well, when we were working with the architects, we thought, if we happen to have an outdoor event, where would the stage
Yeah.
be best for the sun coming up?
I was just amazed we got out of there was not one flat tire
Oh, I know.
and
No,
nobody
it's-
got stuck out in the field.
No,
It
no
was-
major issues.
I think it went. I don't know. I'd say flawless. There was probably a flaw here or there, but man, just so many people that were blessed and just complimentary of how well basically you guys did. I just stood up there and preached, I didn't, but you guys just knocked it out of the park. So
Well, let's do shout outs then to say thank you. Shout out to Kent and Keenan for spending the night.
yeah. And
Keenan, Tavita,
Logan.
Logan,
Yeah.
Ben, and yeah, so they did it. They ran some kids off the property who
Yeah.
somehow snuck down the slide at some
In the middle of
point.
the night, there were some kids trying to go on the inflatables that weren't inflated.
But yeah, they did great. Ryan killed it, managing the tech things. Our creative team capturing video, photo of the day did wonderfully. Like we've already said, Fit Team did phenomenal. Meredith and the whole crew there.
Shout out to Steve Hamilton
Yep.
for
Yeah,
cooking
Chris
burgers
Cakes.
and hot dogs.
Yeah,
Chris
thanks.
Cakes.
Dude, shout out to my dad.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He was a hamburger cooking machine.
He said they
back
cooked
there.
just shy of 1,000 hamburgers, and when
Yeah.
he was done, he did not want to eat a hamburger.
Well, and he
So-
made those. He's been making stuff for us where he made where our confidence monitors were,
Yeah.
those wooden frame
Yeah.
things.
So we had so many people to step up and make it possible. So thank you. We did a great job.
Well, and shout out to everybody that was there.
Yeah.
We loved worshiping with you.
That was a very cool experience, which I know this is going to kind of tie in with where we're heading. But just thinking, I mean, you've been at the church since it was 15 people.
Yeah.
And like, I know just for me, it's very easy to get in a mindset of, I stand and I lead essentially 300 people in worship every week. And like all of a sudden to get up and be like, oh, like we are this, even though we see the numbers tick there, but like, these are all the lives that we're coming together to impact the kingdom. Like as a lead pastor, kind of walking through that.
Yeah, so it is pretty cool. So I agree. Like I preached to 300 people, but it's 300 people here and 300 an hour and a half later and then an hour and a half later, but it's still the same number. But to see all, 7, 8, 900, however many there were there, it was a sea of people, and it was encouraging to see that this is our family, and it's not just this little pocket of 200 or 300 people. It's much, much larger than that. So that was encouraging to see all the people show up. Also encouraging to see the excitement and the enthusiasm that everyone had being there. I was out in the crowd worshiping and just hearing the singing out in a field. And at one point, I turned around and just seeing hundreds and hundreds of people with hands lifted high, singing the top of their lungs, and it was just inspiring.
It was
and encouraging.
inspiring.
Yeah.
It was.
It was pretty cool being able to, as the morning got started, being up on the stage and roaming around and being able to physically and visibly see the cars coming in and the people walking. You didn't have the
that's true.
walls of the building to,
Yeah, I never see
Right.
that.
yeah, I don't
That
see
was so
people,
cool.
but you see the stream of cars coming in and waiting in line to get into it was just a real cool experience. So.
Well, I wanted to ask you about one of the moments because one of the moments that really impacted me was when we were watching the Vision video. There's this photograph of you in a mustache, which I think needs to come back.
Look at this photograph.
We should have picked a much better photo. I don't know who drug that out of the archives.
It's
you
never
ever
going anywhere.
If you are watching this on any of our platforms that allows comments, I want you to vote whether or not Pastor Rick should bring back the mustache. That was inspiring to me.
It's called a Rick stash.
Yeah.
Rick stash. But the other one was there was this picture of you and the elders, I think it was, and you're standing in a field and there's some snow on the ground and you're praying over what is now our building. And then for us to be there in a field again, praying over what will one day be our building, I'm going, what was that like for you to have that second experience?
Yeah, it was a little emotional. It was pretty awesome. That picture of us standing in the field was the groundbreaking ceremony for our current worship space. And so on a Sunday morning, what we did is we took our church for that groundbreaking ceremony, took all the church family out on a Sunday, and it had snowed a couple of days before. So we measured out in the snow, and we, I don't know, shoveled the outline of the building, and we just lined the building, and then we held hands and prayed and had a little devotional time out there, and then stuck shovels in the dirt.
And you're like, Yahoo, Dore,
Yeah. And that was a moment, one of those monumental moments back then that allowed us to see that this is going to be our new space. I had some of that same feeling for that service on Sunday, but not quite. But I think it'll be that same feeling when one day, hopefully soon, we're able to have another gathering on that property and stake out the perimeter of our facility, and our church family gather there and pray and stick shovels in the ground and say, here we go. Like, it's about to get real, and we're going to be changing even more lives. So, yeah, I've seen what it can be. I've been through that process. I kept thinking of the song, he'll do it again. Like, I've seen what he's done in the past. I know I've experienced that in a building sense, and I know he'll do it again. And so I'm excited about that.
That's great. Well, and then in this whole initiative, it's not just about a building, it's about the next move of God. It's about what God is calling us to do individually, where he's calling us into. And we talked this week about here to there. I'm Jonathan in the story that you preached. I'm on a cliff. I see the other cliff. I see the enemy encampment. I'm like, I can't stay here. I want to go there. When we find ourselves in that kind of stage where God's calling us to something new, what do you think is the biggest challenge to getting to the other side, to get it from here to there? And what is the thing that personally for you is always kind of the catalyst that kind of pushes you to take that first step?
I think, honestly, the thing that keeps us from getting to where God wants us to be is us. Like, we're the biggest problem. Whether it's our mindset or our willingness, our desires, we're all over the place. This coming up week, I'm going to talk about moving from comfort zone to danger zone. We like comfort. We don't want to get out of our comfort zone most of the time. So that's the biggest challenge. But if we'll get out of that place of comfort and be like Jonathan and be like, let's go. Let's get over to the other side. Let's do something. Then we get to experience all the things that God had planned for us to experience. And not only is it a cool thing for us, but it inspires other people. It's a crazy thing with us as people. We get inspired when other people do crazy things. Like, it's like, oh, they do that. And so then we're willing to go and try it ourselves.
Yeah.
So,
What do you think, Jay?
Yeah. I mean, my brain, I'm still in a fog from the big one, but clearly I'm paying attention because I was thinking like comfort was where my brain went. I'm like, the toughest thing is we're very comfortable in where we're at. And we might even, in our life be looking at the, if you envision it as like a room or whatever, we're like, I'm going to make this room as efficient as possible, and we're all about working and tidying up there, even though it's work, but like to know that you have to leave what even what you're improving to step into something that could fail. I mean, let's be honest, like simultaneously that so many of the passages that we read in Scripture are going on, there are stories of failure. Like, it's not God's failure, but they're just humanity's. And so, but the reason we are called out is because God is doing something that isn't going to fail. And so we're stepping in confidence in that. And
yes, that whole thing of, perhaps the Lord will move on our behalf, that moving on a maybe, that's what faith is. Faith is the substance of things that you haven't seen yet. It's like, I can kind of see it, but not really. I see it in a spiritual sense, not a physical sense. And it's going to take a step of faith to get out and to do something different. One of the challenges when you say, what keeps us from stepping out, I think narrow-mindedness keeps us. So the challenge that most people face is that we look at one area. So we make this whole move thing about a building. Well, we just need to build a building. And so all of our focus goes on, all of the things that have to go in place so we get a building. And that's just a little sliver of the bigger picture.
Right.
Okay, you could have a giant, big, empty building with nobody in it.
Yeah, so it's not about moving from here to there in a physical sense only. That's part of it. But it's about moving spiritually. And then even within that, people get narrow-minded. And they think, well, I'm already tithing, so I'm good. Well, no, that's awesome. But what is God asking you to do? Don't get stuck in this place. And maybe he's not asking you to move any further financially. Maybe he says, you're good. You've taken that step of obedience. You're tithing, but here's what I want you to do. This is the next move, and it's a sequence of moves that's getting you closer to where God wants you to be. But if you just focus on the building, or just on tithing, or just on serving, then you're going to miss the bigger picture. It's all of those things coming together. That's what gets us from where we are to where God wants us to be.
Because a lot of times you can end up where you've heard God's voice, maybe you weren't tithing and you started tithing, and you're like, oh, I heard God's voice. And you just got to set that aside, and you stop listening and to the fact that God might have something more for you in any area of your life, even outside of just the financial.
Yeah. So,
well, we're excited with what God's doing at our church. We're excited with He's going to move our people to. And so we just want to encourage all of you that are listening to stay with us. Stay tuned for next week. Stay with us during the Move series. Come to a group, find a life group, come to Move groups on Tuesday nights, and just be a part of that, because it's a time of openness where God is going to call you into something new. And it's that question of, are you going to be brave enough? Are you going to be risky enough to do something really great to be rewarded by God? Or are we going to find some excuse to keep living our same comfortable life?
Yep. Let's get ready to move.
Yep.
Let's do it. We'll see you guys here next week on the 167. You guys have a great day.
Hey, New Life family. I'm here with Michael Ward from Caliber Wealth Management. And we're here just talking a little bit about the Move Generosity campaign and ways in which you might be able to be more generous than you might have thought you could have been. So we're talking about just being creative in our giving. So Michael, tell us a little bit about what you do and how we can be more creative in our generosity.
Yeah, thanks, Rick. Thanks for having me. For the past 16 years, actually over 16 years, I've been doing wealth management or financial planning on a personal level. And one of the things I like about my job is I've always been good at the math, and I've always been a people person. But what I've really liked about it is the problem-solving nature of financial planning, where you can use different strategies to help people maximize their money. And so that's the exciting thing for me. And really what I feel led to do is just use the God-given talents that I have and the training to benefit Christ's body as we move into this Move campaign.
Yeah, so this campaign is a generosity initiative, but it's going to help us as a church be able to move into a new season of ministry and be able to build a new building. Some people feel like, man, I just don't have the resources available. I don't have the cash to be able to give. How can you help them with that?
Yeah, there's really just a couple of things. Now, there's a multitude of strategies, and so I would definitely push you to meet with somebody. It can be me. It doesn't matter. I don't have a lock on these financial strategies, and so just whoever you want to talk to them. But what I would push you is to try to get creative and use people that have different strategies. So two of the things I wanted to talk about today really has, and you'll be seeing the slide over the top of us talking, slide one talks a lot about, strategies where you're looking at mutual funds, stocks, land donation, right? And so the typical thinking is, I'm going to take this stock, and it can be inherited, that can be granted by my company, or it could be something I purchased years ago. And I'm going to sell the stock or the land and then give the proceeds. And as you can see on the land, there's a couple different ways to go about doing that. Or I can directly donate that right to the church, and there's some benefits to that. And so in this particular case, the church has a brokerage account set up to receive stocks directly. And so you'll want to work with your financial advisor to get that. But what that looks like, as you can see on the screen, is if I decide to sell the investment and give the proceeds, the capital gains tax that you'll pay on this, which is $35,000 total value for this land or stock, $20,000 is what you paid for it, $15,000 is the appreciation or the growth. And so the capital gains in this particular case would be $2,250. If you donate that, transfer it directly to the church, zero. You'll pay zero capital gains taxes on that. And because the church is a 501c3, the church can sell it and pay no capital gains themselves. So you're not transferring the tax bill to New Life, you're eliminating it altogether. Another thing too is that church gets more. So, and again, instead of getting $32,750, the church now gets $35,000. And the tax savings that person gets because they're donating a larger amount is also greater as well.
Yeah, so it's a win-win.
Yeah, absolutely. 100% win-win. Now, the second strategy that we're going to talk about is called a QCD, or a qualified charitable distribution. Now, this is somebody who is receiving required minimum distributions, either because they were 70 and a half or the new rules, age 72, where the government is making people take money out of their retirement accounts, whether they want to or not. And so what a lot of people don't realize is you can do a QCD, and it satisfies your RMD for your IRA for the whole year. It is a direct, again, just like the first strategy, a direct transfer to the church into a brokerage account. But what that does is it doesn't count as income. And so it's not like you're receiving it and then donating it. It's not even showing up as income, which can be a way to help you to lower your Medicare premiums and lower the taxes on your Social Security.
Yeah, so we're always looking for ways to maximize, our financial contributions. And so if anyone has questions, would you be available to answer those questions free of charge?
Absolutely free of charge. Awesome. And I think that's one of the things that I want to, again, like I said earlier, I do not have a lock on these financial strategies. Use your financial advisor, talk to your CPA. If you need to, you can talk to me or bounce off the ideas that they're bringing to me, and I would do that free of charge as it pertains to this MOVE campaign.
All right, Mike. Well, thanks for joining me here today, and hopefully this answers a lot of questions for people and enables our church family to be more generous and to help us move forward in the ministry. Thanks again.
If you enjoyed this episode of the 167, make sure you like, subscribe, follow, get notified, leave a 5-star rating and a positive review. Tell all your friends to listen as well. Make sure you go over to newlifegardner.com and check out all that we have to offer as a church, and check out our messages online as well. Thanks for listening.